Welcome back, everybody. Happy solemnity of the Ascension of our Lord. But anyway, the reason I'm making this video is I'm sitting here smoking another of these Perdomo Lot 23 Maduro cigar right here, and it kind of got me thinking of when I kind of first started smoking. I really didn't care for Maduros very much. I think just because I wasn't really good at picking out flavors, and I think it's kind of one of the reasons. But the more I've smoked, the more cigars I've smoked, and the more Maduros I've tried, the more I've liked them. It's not really like an acquired thing. I'm just able to piece out flavors better. And there goes a little fuzzy or something. I don't know what that is. Anyway, and the one thing that's really striking me when I'm smoking this one, and I would actually say it's for a lot of them. The reason I really like Maduros is because they have a really nice sweetness to it. To me, it's almost kind of like a chocolate sweetness. Not all the time, but a lot of the time. And also for all the very brand new smokers out there, or who are kind of looking for their first cigar, don't be afraid to pick up a Maduro, because a lot of people think, and this is actually what I thought at the very beginning until I actually watched some videos and read some people, was the darker the cigar, the stronger it is. That is completely false. You can have something that has a Connecticut wrapper that is super light and will kick your butt. You know, the strength normally doesn't come from the wrapper. It comes from the filler, what they put inside. Generally, like the tobacco that usually has the biggest punch is called Ligero. And that stuff is usually strong, and it's usually very spicy. So that's my advice for new smokers. And actually, you know what? I'll do a little kind of thing for new smokers. So, sorry. So, I've been smoking a little over a year, probably. And I've really picked up of like trying new stuff this year, because over the winter I didn't smoke because it was cold. I live in the Midwest. I live in central North Indiana, so it can get pretty cold up here. But so when I first started smoking, I was kind of oblivious. If you're lucky enough to live in an area that has a cigar shop, go to it. Generally, the people are very nice. They're very helpful. And they should be, because, you know, if they want you to buy their product, they should be nice and they should be helpful. So pretty much, I mean, so if you don't know where to begin and you live in an area with a reputable cigar store, go there. Go to the counter or wherever the people are at that are working there, and just pretty much just say, I have never smoked a cigar before. I would like to try something. You know, you can probably describe what kind of flavors you generally like for food. Like with me personally, I like sweet things, like not like sugar sweet, but like chocolatey sweet, and I like spicy stuff. So I usually gravitate towards cigars, or I really enjoy cigars that are sweet and they have a nice spicy punch to them. And also, I do enjoy some of like the lighter coffee flavors and stuff like that. Even though I do like coffee, but like the espresso flavors, I'm not really a big fan of. But kind of like the creamy coffee is what I like. So that's usually helpful, and they can usually pull something out for you, and they'll generally give you something that's a mild to a medium. And I think that's a good place to start. You don't want to start out with something so mild you can't taste anything, or you just like you're sucking on air. There's no point to that. But so, you know, some of them will probably try to recommend you something that's like super light. I wouldn't do that, because you probably won't get too much. You probably won't get too much flavor out of it, and it'll be kind of like, what's the point? And again, you don't want something so complex and so strong it's going to kick your butt. Now, my own personal experience, and a few cigars I think anybody starting out would probably like is, and one actually I started out with was the Perdomo Lot 23. their like just their regular line. It's like the natural. Um, that thing is probably a low medium. Has some nice decent flavors, and it's a linear stick. It doesn't really change at all throughout the stick. Which, I mean, I think is probably good for beginners, because if you get something super complex, they're going to be like, well, what am I smoking? You know. And also another thing that a lot of people don't consider is price point. You know, people who work in cigar shops are salespeople. They really are. And on occasion, you'll get some that are maybe a little shystering, where they're like, you need this $15 cigar. Don't do it. Absolutely do not do it. These generally retail, I think, are, I want to say they're like $7 or something like that, maybe $6, depending where you live at. I mean, I think right there, when you first start out about $5 to $6. There's plenty of sticks in that range. They're very, very good. And again, also, you know, you have your people at your cigar shop, and then you also have all of us, like me, like Brian Glenn, like Insomniac from Should I Smoke This? He's very good, and you know, Lee Mac 912. There's a lot of us on YouTube and on websites that do cigar reviews, and I think it's very, very helpful. It helped me when I first started, and that's kind of the reason I'm doing these, is because I gained a lot of experience, and also I kind of want to record what I taste in the cigars. You know, and I want to read some scripture to you guys to kind of help myself as well. So, and the other piece of advice I will give you, and I think I've mentioned this before, is cigar smoking is not a cheap hobby. It's not super expensive, but it's not the most affordable. I am getting stuff all over the place. It is a very slippery slope. If you really like it, be prepared to make an investment at the beginning. Like myself, I'm still kind of. I generally get my cigars month to month. I don't have a big stash because I don't have a whole lot of money. Now, hopefully next month I might be able to change that. Maybe might be able to invest a couple $100s into some cigars I really enjoy to smoke leisurely, that I can have, you know, maybe buy 1 or 2 boxes, and that'd be very, very nice. Which means I'd have to get another humidor too, because I only have a 50 count humidor, and that thing is about 2/3 full at the moment. Not really full of cigars. I have a little compartment. I have my humidity device and my hygrometer in. But, you know, and again, when you start it, you don't start out expensive. Like, for the longest time, I had a Tupperware container, big Tupperware container, as my humidor. And all I did was, I had a humidity device in there, which I will recommend Heartfelt Beads. They're very, very good. They're kind of expensive out the get-go, but they last for years. And I mean years. Brian Glenn has had his for a very, very long time, and he keeps on reusing them and keeps on reusing them. So that's very nice. So it doesn't have to be expensive. You know, I think between the humidity device, like the Heartfelt Beads, and my Tupperware container, I think I spent maybe $20. I mean, that's the cheapest humidor you could possibly imagine. So now the actual humidor I have, I actually got it for $15. It's not the best, but it works, and it actually works pretty well. I mean, I open it every day, so then, you know, get my cigars out. So, but, you know, make sure you have a little bit of money to start out with, and don't be fooled. And so this is kind of where I'm getting at with all this. Don't be fooled by online cigar stores who have like these Uber sales. Now, on occasion, you'll find somewhere they're doing like a sale, you know, like 25% off on like samplers or boxes or something like that. But be very, very wary of the ones that say 95% off. And take the ash out before it falls on me. One thing you need to really watch out for is, and this is something I've learned, just by from other people in my own experience, can be actually a few things. One, it's super old stock that's been sitting around, and they just need to get rid of it. That's one. That's not so bad, just as long as it's kept nicely. Two is some brand discontinued one of their lines. They sold the rights to a company, and then the company will run out of cigars that they bought from them, but they'll continue to ban cigars as that cigar. And that cigar that they're banning could be nothing like the original. So that can happen. And then three, which was kind of along with number one, is like storage. Some of these really, really, really big online stores, their warehouses are huge. And being able to control humidity in that type of environment is pretty much impossible. It's easier to control humidity in smaller spaces. And that's just science. So, anyway, just be very, very careful about when you see these like uber huge sales. So, and like, if you want to, you can go ahead and shop on cigarbid.com. I did, but I learned the hard way. Most of the cigars I got from them were garbage. They were not kept right. Like, I would get them, I would put it in my humidor, which this came out of my humidor right now, and it's been sitting in there for, I don't know, like, I want to say 2.5 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, and it's smoking fine. Hasn't busted. It's smoking perfectly. Every single one. Well, I want to say probably 80% of cigars I got from cigarbid.com. I put in my humidor. I let them acclimate, and they just would crack. They didn't burn right. So, which means that the storage that they were kept in for a very long time was not good. So, but if you do want an auction site that is pretty good, and actually that's where I got this from, is Famous Smokes. It's called Cigar Auctioneer. Now granted, their prices are not as good as you find on Cigar Bid, but they're still reasonable, and you can get some good deals. Like for these, I got a 5-pack for, can't remember how much it was. I think it might have been $15. So that's $3 a stick. I can't complain. I really can't. Tastes wonderful. Burns fine. Haven't had a problem with any of them. Actually, I haven't had a problem with any of the cigars from Cigar Auctioneer. So I'm definitely giving kudos to them. But on the flip side, make sure you support your local store. It is super important, especially in this day and age where we're a global market, where more and more local stores, no matter what it is, it could be, a boutique shop or a cigar shop or a mom and pop grocery store, whatever it is, they are being put out of business by these big conglomerate companies. Now, I'm not saying that all of them are bad. I mean, there's a lot of online stores. I mean, there's like JR Cigars, which is a good one. There's Cigar Federation, which they're very nice because they actually have a lot of boutique brands, which could be hard to find in your area. Famous Smokes is another one I shop on. But I'm going to name names, just because I don't like them very much. Thompson Cigars, not very good. Cigar Ranch International, they're okay. But again, prices on Famous Smokes are better, and I've never had a problem with their cigars. So now, if you've never had a problem with, cigars.com or Cigars International, then go for it. I've had bad experience. I'm not going to give them my money anymore. So it's just as simple as that. But support your local stores. Like for me, I will try to at least buy 5 or 6 sticks a month from my local store. I take a little bit of hit on the money I could save, but at the end of the day, I'm supporting them. They're getting more cigars in. I'm getting a big variety, or a bigger variety coming in, which I'm liking. And they also do events. Like, not all stores do events, but there are a lot of them that do. Mine has a cigar club once a month, where they will, for $19, you will get a cigar, and then you'll sample some type of liquor. Like this week, we actually did Padron. We got to sample 5 different Patrons. I didn't care for a lot of them, but there's one I really enjoyed. So now I'm probably going to go out and probably buy a bottle of it because I liked it that much. And for $19, we got 5 shots, a cigar. We got a cutter, which I mean the cutter is not like the most. It's like like a $4 kind of plastic cutter, like the black one I used to use, except it was white. And then we got like a $10 or a 10% off for our cigar store for the month, and at the Knickerbocker, which is a bar that the Cigar Club's at. And then also we got a envelope because he's doing some special stuff with additional prizes in it that we actually have to go to the store and open there when we go make a purchase. And then there could also be extra goodies on there, and they did a raffle. So inside, so when we got there, we got like a little gift bag with like our cigar and then our coupons and stuff like that in there. And we had a raffle ticket, and they raffled off like T-shirts. They had a stinky ashtray from Nomad Cigars, actually signed by Fred, who's the CEO of the brand. They had a bottle of Cafe Patron. They had like some pens, and then they had a few like $25 gift cards to some restaurants in the town. And I won one of them. I won a $25 gift card or gift certificate to a restaurant downtown in Lafayette here. So for $19, the value I got is probably well over $50. So that right there is super awesome. Now I don't know if all stores do that, but mine does. So if you're in Lafayette, Indiana, go to Crossroads Cigars, and go talk to them. And the Cigar Club is the second Tuesday of every month at the Knickerbocker at 6 o'clock. It's well worth it. It is very, very well worth it. So that's my plug for them. But also support your local stores. So anyway, I think I'm going to let you guys go. So hopefully it's helpful for some of the newer smokers out there, of what to avoid. And I've done rambles kind of similar to this, but I mean, it is what it is. But make sure, be wary of buying cigars. Oh, and also another thing, I haven't done this yet, but I know a lot of people do, is if you have buddies that smoke cigars, and say you have a couple cigars that he's never tried, and he has a couple cigars that you never tried, trade. I mean, they might not be equal value, but if you're friends, you won't care. So anyway, oh, and also another thing when it comes to your local store, if they have a lounge, which I mean, I think all of them do have some type of lounge. Like my store's kind of small, so the lounge isn't huge, but I mean, you could fit like a dozen people in there comfortably. But go there every once in a while, and buy a cigar, sit down, smoke it there. A couple other people will probably be there. You can chit chat with them. And that's a great thing about cigars, is you could be some blue collar worker and you could be sitting next to the mayor for all you know. In there, it brings people together. It really does. Because with cigars, it doesn't matter what your social class is, what your job is, what your religion is, what color you are. It's one of those things that breaks down barriers where you can just sit down, enjoy a cigar, and chit chat with people. So, anyway, I'm coming up on 20 minutes here, so I'm going to let you guys go. So, God bless everybody. Again, a happy Sunday of the Ascension of our Lord. Praise be to Him over and over and over again, because He went to heaven. He's sitting up there at the right hand of the Father on our behalf. So pray constantly to Him. All right? God bless everybody.